Let's continue with our compositing process. Let's unmute that.
In the lowlands today, we have sunshine and 75 degrees.
All right, that'd be a great place to put in the weather. So let's open up the weather map. And I have two graphics here. I have the temperature and I have the sun. Let's put those together and then bring them in as one element. So to do that, let's make a new sequence. So I'm going to right click on the sun and choose new sequence. Remember, I like to rename my sequences as soon as I make them. So let's double click on that and we're going to put sun and 75. We need to add the 75 degrees. So let's come up here, grab 75 and just drag it onto track 2. It really doesn't matter how long these are on here for because we can always stretch it out later in the other sequence. Here's my sequence, sun and 75, and let's just go back to our weather report sequence. Now we want to bring this in as if it was one graphic. So we're going to come down here to our project panel, grab the new sequence, drag it in, and you'll notice that it's a different color. Nested sequences, when you put a sequence inside of another sequence, are green. Okay, and I start talking about the weather and my hand pops out right about there. So actually that's a good time. I really don't need to resize it, but I do need to move it. So let's click and drag and move it. It wouldn't be a bad idea to transition these on. So let's go to our effects panel, grab a cross dissolve and throw it on both ends of that. And let's play it back.
In the lowlands today, we have sunshine and 75 degrees.
Beautiful. Next, so let's grab the lightning. There we go. By the way, actually I'm going to not put it on yet. I did something, I just did it so naturally that I didn't even realize I did it. Did you notice how we added the fourth track? We just drug our graphic right up into that area. So notice I don't have a track 5. If I want a track 5, all you have to do is drag any graphic or video clip up here and it'll automatically create an additional video track. Not that I need an additional video track, but that's another way to add a track. I did it and didn't even realize it because it's just such a natural way of adding tracks. Isn't that cool? So we've got our lightning on here. It's ending at the right spot and we want to move it. So let's add some keyframes. So I'm going to scrub back to where my hand picks up the lightning. We're going to come over here to our motion and we're going to change the position at this point. Actually, let's go back. We want the position to end right about where my hand comes down. There we go. So let's scrub through this. Boom. That's when we want the lightning right here. So that's where we want to set the first keyframe. So let's toggle on our animation. Boom. We got our first diamond. Move it up to where we grab it. And then we're going to scrub it. Now this time, instead of grabbing it, I want to use these numbers here. So this first number here on the left-hand side allows you to change the horizontal position. So you can scrub it left or right. This is scrubbable text, and that repositions it on the horizontal plane. This number on the right, the second number, allows you to change it on the vertical plane. So I can scrub it left or right until it gets to the position that we want. So I'm scrubbing it to the left. Now, if this is taking too long, you're scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and you want to scrub faster, hold shift down and it goes 10 times as fast. So be careful when you're holding shift down. It's like you've got the accelerator pushed down to the metal. So now have 2 diamonds here, and that controls the location of the artwork. Finally, let's do our picture-in-picture. Let's move our current time indicator to the spot where my hand comes in here and we talk about camping. Let's go up a directory so we're back in the root of our project. Find our hiking picture and drag and drop it here onto track 4. Let's hold that on there the entire time. Now what do we want to do? We want to resize this. So remember, you can double click here and just grab these handles and resize it. Move it up here. Now I think this would look nice if it had an effect. So let me show you one of my favorite effects to do with picture-in-picture. If you go to effects and in the search box, let's type in drop shadow or drop. There's my drop shadow. I'm going to drag and drop that effect on there and it looks pretty cool. And again, here with your drop shadow, if you go to your effect controls, you can adjust the distance. So I want that drop shadow to be even more prominent. or I might want to soften it up a little so it's not quite so square. That's looking good. So I oftentimes, when I bring in a picture in, will add a drop shadow, and that's how you would adjust that. So we did a lot of compositing here. We brought in our bug and we stretched it out and rotated it and moved it in here. Our sun, we nested into another sequence, dropped it in there. We've added a bunch of different tracks here. We keyframed our lightning, and then we worked with our picture-in-picture and added a cool drop shadow effect. So you can see Premiere Pro will really let you do some cool, complex compositing that helps you to tell your story.